Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh crap, we're recording. Hey, how's it going, everyone? GC Forens here, back with another video. Today we have the brand new release of the new Specialized Diverge STR. I want to go ahead and give you guys my opinion on this bike, talk about what the main differences are. I'm sure you guys have seen a ton of videos on this thing already, but I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of tricks that you guys probably did not know about this bike, what I look forward to this bike, my pros and cons of this bike, and also what I think this technology should be used for in the future as well. Because I think that they're onto something here that I hope that they bring over to maybe their mountain bike side, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But first off, I want to say I'm a little bit butthurt. I'm kind of butthurt. I've seen other YouTubers out there. As you guys know, my niche is Specialized. I love the product. I'm a dealer. I knew about this bike getting released for a while. I've asked people inside the company to kind of reach out and say, hey, is there any kind of information, the launch date and everything like that. I don't know if they just don't like me as a person, or maybe they don't like my YouTube channel because it's so non-professional. But I don't get really responses back. And then meanwhile, I see all these other YouTubers, bigger platforms, smaller platforms, me, whatever it is, not Specialized dealers, not people who sell the product and push the product and enjoy the product, that have this bike. They have it in their hands. They have it for multiple days beforehand. They know the launch date. They have a video ready. So me making this video is just kind of me giving you a sum up on it. Again, I knew about the bike. I have this bike. It'll be I have the SWORKS versions coming to my store next week. I'll have real weights for you guys. I'll get to show you guys up close and personal, but just want to show you guys more or less the bike itself. But yeah, I just want to say a little bit butthurt. I wish I'm never asking for anything. I'm never saying that I'm owed anything. I love the product that I talk about, but it just, I'd like to have a bike once in a while and say, hey, I could show you guys this bike beforehand. I'm a YouTuber, but that's neither here nor there. I'll get the respect one day. Anyways, so the release of the new Specialized STR Diverge. So they basically took the bike that they had before, like the Specialized Diverge, and they just basically took it from what they had, the Crux and the Diverge, which were both gravel bikes, and the Diverge, the previous model, only had the Future Shock. Now they added a Future Shock to the rear. So now they put the both bikes on two ends of the spectrum, and they made the Crux, which is a complete lightweight, agile bike, non-proprietary stuff that's super competitive and super racy. And then they took the Diverge, which was already a comfort bike or considered like an endurance gravel bike, and they just made it more of that. So now we have, it was always a question whenever I had a consumer come into my store, they would always question the two of them. And I would have to say, hey, well, you have to decide which ones you want to do. And they're like, well, it is kind of similar bikes, except for the Diverge just had the Future Shock. Now this really puts them apart, and I can say, hey, the Crux is like super fast paced, maybe hard packed dirt, maybe you want to use it as a dual purpose road bike. And now this Diverge STR would really say, you want to do long backpacking trips, you want to be comfortable on the bike, you want to do maybe some exploring on some single track, this is the bike for you. So they basically just took their Diverge and added a rear Future Shock to it. I believe all the other specs in terms of the front fork rake, the storage, everything else is the same. The mounting points for the water bottles and all these panniers, and even the mounting points up here are all the same as Diverge. Even the tire clearance is still only 700 by 47C and 650B by 2.1. And but everything else is exactly the same. Even the Future Shock is a 2.0. But for these models, as you guys know, they released the STR, which they released in a, let me go ahead and minimize my face for you guys. For the models, they released 3 new STR models. And you might say, well, these are very expensive. I don't see any comp models. They're not planning to release any comp models right now. I don't know if they're going to do it in the future, but as of right now, they only released 3, the Expert, the Pro, and the SWORKS. They still will continue to do the regular Diverge at an Expert level. So if you don't want this STR, the rear suspension, they will still continue to have I think an alloy model, a comp model, and an Expert model in the Diverge as last year's model. So if you like the rigid hardtail more, you still have that option. And another tidbit of information, the new Diverge STR and the Expert, the Pro, and the SWORKS models, they're all the exact same carbon fiber. So before, they used to be different carbon fiber frames. Now if you buy the Pro at $9,500, you're going to get Fact Carbon 11R, which is their top tier. It's the same carbon you're going to get in the SWORKS. So you're getting more bang for your buck as well, if you buy the $7,500 bike, you're getting the exact same frame, the exact same carbon as the SWORKS, just a different paint job and different components. So you can maybe say, hey, I want to get this bike. I don't have 14 grand. I say that a lot in my life. I can only splurge at 7,500. You're still getting the meat and potatoes of the frame, which is the exact same as the SWORKS, just not the pretty paint job. And then you're getting just a cheaper gravel group set. So you can always upgrade that later on down the road. As you guys can see, they're in stock as well on specialized.com. I do have them coming into my store later on. And this is a video about the Diverge, but I did want to say they do have the new tarmac colors available online at specialized.com too. But yes, so people want to know weight too. Is this bike more heavier than last year's model of the Diverge? Of course it is, but they say that it's only 100 grams heavier than its counterpart or its predecessor. So the SWORKS Diverge last year, the frame on that model, the frame of the SWORKS Diverge last year without this STR right here, the new STR will be 100 grams heavier. That's very, very little of weight. I don't know if those proclaims are true, but that's what they're proclaiming to be. Maybe one day I'll get a frame side by side to go ahead and weigh it out. So you're only getting 100 grams heavier, but you're getting way more utilization of the bike. You're getting 30 millimeters of travel for this rear suspension back here, or the rear future shock. And I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. How's this future shock going to hold up? How's this going to do under long testing, longevity, and stuff like that? It seems like a lot of moving parts. I even watched this video by Specialized with them uninstalling this rear seat post on here. It looks pretty crazy. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a seat binder bolt here. There's a 10 millimeter nut here. There's a 5 millimeter you got to hold here. You got to loosen this bolt and then also loosen the bolt right here as well. I think as we get into it, and everyone says, oh, that seems like so much. Everything seems like so much. But as you get into it, like a shop owner or shop worker like me, as I get used to working on the bikes, things become more easier. You get into the routine of it. I do it every single day, whereas a tube change might take a long time for someone. It's very simple for us. So I don't see it being a problem for a store to go ahead and run this. And obviously, if you're buying a bike like this, talk with your store and say, hey, I feel uncomfortable setting this up. But a cool thing is that if you buy this bike as is the STR, it comes with 2 different seat post wedges inside here. So not only do you have this 30 millimeters of rear suspension back here of future shock, but also you can actually change the amount of flexion you have in this seat post right here. So this seat post will come with 2 different weights, and then you'll also get included with your bike another seat post. So you can remove this seat post out and put in a new seat post as well, maybe a stiffer variant or a softer variant. And then both those seat posts have 2 variants themselves. To give you an idea, they got a little chart right here on Specialized. So if you were to get a 56 centimeter bike, with that you're going to get the included FP2 flexibility and an FP5 seat post. And what that looks like is this piece right here. Let me get this piece right here. This piece right here. This will come out. We'll swap it out, but you get 2 of them. If you want to change it for any more, you want to get really dialed in, you have all those options to go ahead and change out and see how it feels. But yes, it looks like a lot of moving parts. I'm still new to it. I don't know what's going to happen. I also spoke with Specialized during our dealer meeting, which was like a month or 2 ago. And I said, hey, it would be nice for shops to have this part right here, the actual 30 millimeter of travel future shock. Maybe onesie, twosies in stock, just in case something was to fail. So that way we can swap it out for someone who just spent a lot of money on a bike. And this part is able to come out and get swapped out and get removed. The Future Shock 2.0 on the front end of the bikes, right here, not going to lie, I always thought it was a gimmick when it first released. But this thing by Specialized is ahead of its time. I know people who haven't rode it are still going to say, oh, I don't need suspension on my bike. This is above the platform. It's not on the bike, and same with this as well. They kept the rigidity of the seat post, and they kept the rigidness of the rear stays as well. But when this Future Shock's above the platform, there's no suspension that you're losing on the front end of the bike. So every time you stand up on the bike, anytime that you're riding on the bike, you're not losing momentum like you would on a front suspension fork. You're actually just getting all the suspension and complianceness in your elbows, your wrists, and your arms. The hydraulic Future Shocks, those, I'm not going to lie, I had maybe 1 or 2 of them go bad out of all the Diverges. And they're very easy to take out and swap back in. And this is no other than the same case as well here. Now, this is a lot more moving parts for the STR, but we'll have to wait and see. Frames are all the same carbon, 30 millimeters of shock. different seat posts with different weight preferences. Obviously, one thing I could say about the SWORKS being $14,000, they finally included a SWORKS Power Mirror saddle on a $14,000 bike. So yes, the price of the bikes have increased, but now they finally, I've been saying this for a long time. If you're going to sell SWORKS top tier bike, you should put your flagship saddle on here, your 3D printed mirror saddle on here. But other than that, you have a adjustable lockout on this STR in the rear as well. You have an open, a mild, and then a closed. And obviously, similar to a shock, open's going to give you the most play. Middle's going to be, and closed is going to be. So you have that. You can run whatever 27.2 seat post you want on here. This does not make it a proprietary post. You can put a 0 degree setback. You can put an alloy setback in there, or alloy seat post in there as well. It does not change that at all. Okay, so now what I want to get into real quick. I'm going to go right here. $14,000, $14,000. The frame alone is $6,000. Like I said, they will still have diverges in the expert, comp, and base model as well. So, all right, so this is where I really want to talk about this. This suspension setup looks pretty cool to me. I really do enjoy this. I think it's going to be really nice. I think the riders who are looking for this type of suspension, it's going to be a big plus. What I would love to see them to do with this type of technology is put it onto their epic hardtail. Or, because of the fact that I've seen on some videos with this seat post right here, I've seen it where they remove this this tendon right here, and this seat post can go way back. So maybe they can add more than 30 millimeters of travel. Maybe they can add 60 millimeters of travel, something similar to like the Trek, like their top tier dual caliper. I forget the Soul Caliper bike. Their top tier cross country bike. Maybe make an ultralight or SL epic. Either you're gonna claim it to be epic hardtail or claim it to be epic full suspension, but make one of these in a future shock 60 millimeter travel on an epic with a flat handlebar, and then you run a 100 millimeter travel front fork here. I think that will kill it. I mean, this is a great bike. This is a very cool bike for gravel. I love the idea behind it, but the mountain bike game for the epics have been dominating for a while. They have the brain technology. The epic hardtail has kind of not been there as much because they always say smoother is fast. They really go after that marketing for that epic full suspension. But if Specialized came with something like this on an epic hardtail, I think it'll be game over. It'll be super lightweight bike. They can make it where it has a future shock. We have the adjustability to lock it out if they want to. You can still run the full suspension, so it'll be almost like a full suspension bike. But it'll have to have more than 30 millimeter travel. It'll have to have the 60 millimeter travel, something around there. Maybe 50, maybe whatever it is. But I think it'll be huge for them. It'll be something really cool that I like to see. Another weird thing is, so off the topic of Epic, they put tracer tires on here instead of the Pathfinder tires. I don't know why. But I think this bike will mainly be used at like the Unbound race next year. These crazy long backpacking trips for gravel races. I think you'll see a lot of people running this thing. I don't know what they're going to be competing on because I thought that the Diverge was going to be used in the gravel race for the UCI men's, but they chose to ride road bikes. So we'll see what this bike is mainly used for. I do think this has a place in the cycling world. I have a lot of people who still run the Diverge. I have a lot of people run the Diverge on the road. You can run a 28C tire on here if you wanted to. It's still very capable of being a road bike. You can still backpack with this thing. You could do a lot. This is a great bike, especially if you live in those Midwest or Western areas like Colorado or something like that. I think it's a perfect bike over there. So it's a really, really cool bike. I would love to see them introduce a comp model down the road with this STR. Maybe around the $5,500 price range, because $7,500 to get into their top tier bike or STR or base model bike is kind of crazy. And also, like I said before, this is gonna be even more mind blowing. The SWORKS frame is $6,000. I just thought of this right now. It's 11R carbon. The expert frame is 11R carbon. So you get all this for $1,500. You get a full drivetrain, electronic shifting, cassette, carbon wheels for $1,500 more. That's a steal of a deal. That, I don't know what the fuck that is. But anyways, guys, that's going to do this for this video. That was my kind of take on the bike. I will, like I said, have it in my store next week. I'll have full weights, full in-depth on it. I'll even maybe twist around the seat post, jab it in there a little bit, touch some holes. You know how guys like to do it. But yeah, I was a little bit bummed when I saw some videos. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the video. I will be the one working on these bikes all the time. So you see all these other YouTubers, if they have any questions, I don't have a cool specialized guys to talk about stuff, but if you guys have any questions, I'm always here. All right, guys? Have a good day.